What's up, guys? This is Miles Markowitz.
And this is Brad Thomas.
Here to give you the best sports insights to beat your book.
You only need to ask one question.
What's the spread? And how we doing? Welcome in. What's the spread?
Miles.
Happy football season to everybody out there. Woo.
Oh,
You know,
my God.
I turned on the game last night.
Yep.
Opening, game, Chiefs-Texans. And the first thing I noticed, was the crowd noise, right? And I was like, oh, man, the crowd noise sounds incredible. But then here's the thing. Brad, was I born yesterday? Then I saw fans in the stands.
Yeah.
Did you know that they were allowing fans in the stands?
Yeah.
Where have I been?
There's only
I did not
two
see that.
stadiums right now that are allowing fans. What is it? The Dolphins and the Chiefs.
So that's it. It's just two.
Yeah, that's what they said last night.
17,000 fans allowed in the stands at Arrowhead.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of fans.
That's a UCF game.
So my mind all of a sudden just started spinning, right? And I'm coming in hot today, so get ready.
Okay, hit me.
Today we get to talk about some college games, get to talk about some pro games. We got Joey Burrow making his debut on Sunday. So many things to be excited about. The one thing that's still missing from the football season is college football.
Yes.
And even though we have a slate of games tomorrow and they've been playing, we have the ACC, we have, some Big 12 games. What's missing? Well, first of all,
You already know. We already know. Big Ten.
Big 10 missing. SEC is missing until October.
Yep.
And, I was telling my dad that, I was like, hey, this doesn't feel normal yet. And he's like, oh, this feels really normal, watching the game. And it was for NFL, but not having the opening slate of college football on Labor Day weekend there was a hole in my heart that was just, it's still there.
Labor Day weekend was
struggling.
interesting.
It just wasn't the same.
Betting standpoint. I mean, it was in this Labor Day weekend, if I'm not on a family trip, me and you were in a sports book somewhere. And so this Labor Day weekend, I was on both. I was on a sports trip and I was in a sports book. I was in a family trip and a sports book, and I had no interest in betting whatever weird games we had.
Right. And it was a weekend where on Labor Day weekend, we could actually have fantasy football drafts, which was never the case because I would never schedule fantasy football drafts on that weekend because that is college football.
Yes.
All right, so you mentioned the Big Ten.
Yes.
It's missing. All right, 17,000 fans allowed in Arrowhead Stadium last night, and this is why I'm angry, all right? For a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
The Big Ten, first of all, has had no transparency with information. Zero.
Correct.
And as it stands today, apparently there is another vote coming down either this weekend or Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. No one knows when the fuck the vote is happening. And I feel like it's been like this for months. It's like I feel like I'm back pre-baseball season where it's like for a month it was
we didn't
just
know what baseball was going to happen.
Right. We didn't know if that was going to happen. Who do you trust? But this thing that, Ryan Day came out yesterday, spoke publicly, made a statement about wanting his team to play. And everybody in the media is just throwing down on Ryan Day about what, of course you want to play. You're good enough to compete for a championship. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What am I missing here? Yes, of course he wants to play. Ohio State is good enough to win a national title, so why shouldn't he come out and say that we're good enough to win, we want to play? And just because Rutgers doesn't want to play football doesn't mean that Ohio State shouldn't be competing for the playoff.
What blows my mind is how are we possibly able to have numerous football games throughout the football season, but the Big Ten, what is the big in Ohio, in Michigan, do they catch COVID easier than anywhere else?
And not to mention high school football being played in Ohio.
Yeah, that's really weird. And in Pennsylvania.
Which is super weird. Yeah. And in Pennsylvania. And so all of that is still happening. And there are ways to play these games safely.
Yes.
I mean, SEC, ACC, Big 12, they're playing games. Is COVID, are COVID cases prevalent? Yes, of course they are. That's the world we live in today, Brad.
Yes.
Like that is not going, it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
So for us to just say, well, it's not safe to play. And
it's not safe to go to school.
It's not safe to go outside.
Yes.
If that's the point we're trying to make. All right. And here's the other side of the coin that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Here, all right. Also, is that because never in my life, and I promise that we're going to get to our picks, and I promise that we're going to get to the games, but never in my life did I think that I would be talking about any kind of politics on this podcast, but when politics start to affect the things that I love,
yes,
which is sports,
okay,
all right, that's when it gets serious. And, and that's when it may be time to start talking about it, because this has become very political.
Oh,
and it's not something that any of us wanted.
Yep.
And also, when I say, politics affecting stuff I love, sports is what I love the most, right? Politics is very important. But I've never been the guy to take a hard stance on the right or left.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've always been here just kind of living my life and like to listen to both sides. We've had those conversations too.
Yeah.
But right now, it is directly influencing Big Ten football, and that's why it is becoming so clear to me right now that this is a political issue. Because the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 are playing, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are not.
Yeah.
And the common denominator here seems to be right states versus left states.
Yep.
And taking that stance, because when it comes to COVID, right, on the left, the safe thing to do is not do anything. And on the right, it's let's live our life.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to agree with me. Like that's kind of what it looks like, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Those are the real, that's the spectrum. And now we're seeing that with the media. So many articles I'm seeing on ESPN previewing college football. And the first thing they do is talk down to Ohio State fans and talk down to the Big Ten and talk down to us being like, oh my God, the Big Ten made the right decision. Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with Ryan Day? Oh, but we got the SEC in October, baby.
See, that's what's crazy is the double standard.
That's what it is.
How, y'all know I love Alabama. I love Alabama. Right. And when Saban says something like this is what Saban said. It is safer for our kids to be with us than it is to let them free and do whatever they want. And I wholeheartedly agree. These kids, you think about it, these kids who are college athletes, the good majority of them are being pretty smart because they want to stay healthy.
They want to stay healthy because they have a future in front of them.
The second you take that football season away from them, no telling what they're doing.
Right. I mean, with all of the preseason activities for, the Big Ten schools, Ohio State and Penn State, Michigan, we were being so careful. So many medical professionals, so many masks, so much discipline.
Yes.
That was the one thing I noticed with the Ohio State players going into training camp was the discipline that they had in staying healthy and being that way. And going to the SEC for a second, they ran into some issues with COVID early on, but we're playing football in a couple weeks. And I like Nick Saban coming out and defending his conference, defending what his program has put together to keep his players safe.
Yes.
And, as we already previously mentioned, there is no such thing as 100% safety in this world or the pre-COVID world.
Correct.
Like, there is no such
thing.
So all you can do is put your players and their families and everybody in a position where they can play the game they love safely, and it doesn't jeopardize their future. Because now we got kids, specifically from the Big Ten who, are they going to get drafted, come April or May when the draft is? Most likely, but there are so many other players who are never going to get that chance to show what they could have done on the football field. A lot of people are saying, for Ohio State, it's about winning a championship. Of course it is. Of course that's what this is about.
Yeah.
Because, and this is the last point that I wanted to get into before we get into the games, all right? This is going to set back the Big Ten Conference by 5 years minimum. And this is what I mean by that. You and I always talk about Big Ten versus SEC, right? Because to me, it's one of the best storylines in college football.
Yep.
Because if you look at the slate of games each and every week, it's the Big Ten and the SEC coming in with the best games.
Yes.
They're the best conferences. They have the best brands.
Yep.
The best recruits, all of it. And then you got Clemson in a league of their own.
Yes.
Big 12 is entertaining, but Oklahoma wins every year.
Yep.
And the Pac-12 is just out doing their own thing in
California.
That's basically what college football is, right? All right. So when it comes down to it, with Ohio State trying to find a way to play, it just seems like there are no answers right now.
Yeah.
Like for that conference. And it's just, again, I hope that when I come back here next week, we're talking about a different story. But I'm not doing a college football preview until I get a definitive answer that Ohio State is either going to be there or not be there. Because let's talk about the 5 years thing. All right. I think Ohio State would be able to recover from this in due time.
Yes.
1, 2, 3 years. I think Ohio State can make the playoff next year, but they're not going to beat Alabama and they're not going to beat Clemson.
Not with the year off.
Not with the year off, right?
No.
So they go into the playoff and they get their ass handed to them again. And, and all of a sudden we're back another year. That's Ohio State.
Yeah.
Think about the rest of the conference, Brad. Think about all those teams. Think about Michigan and Penn State. How about Minnesota, who was on the brink of building an actual program?
Now they're just crumbling down because they're going to have no field time, real field time.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nowhere to go for a program that was on the rise. Nebraska wants to play football because they're trying to find an identity. All of these things matter, and they're so important. And it comes down to, well, if the SEC is playing in the ACC and the Big 12, okay, then why are we not trying to play?
Yeah.
It's come down to a point where Kevin Warren and the Big Ten made a stance because they thought that everybody else would follow. Nobody followed suit. Now they're backed into a corner, and now it's all about pride.
Yeah, it's 100% about pride. I'm so glad you said that because they're looking around, like literally, get off your high horse, look around, read the room. It's a simple read the room.
Yeah. And pride, you're going to let pride, this conference is going to crumble.
Yes.
I mean, they will not recover from this. It will be the greatest mistake I have ever seen in American sports history. I've never seen a bigger mistake, a bigger scandal. It will cost them that much in terms of identity.
Power,
This is what that is.
Money, everything.
Yeah. Like just being able to compete. This is why I love talking college football with you, though, because we know it's so much more about a 5-star recruit.
Yeah.
Or a big coach. Or it's a package.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yes.
It's what you represent. No one has more pride for the Big Ten Conference than I do. No one roots for all of our teams in the conference more than I do. But this is turning me against my own conference, and I hate that.
Yeah.
It makes me so sick to my stomach that I actually want to see Ohio State leave this conference that I love more than anything. I want other teams to be successful too so that we can provide great college football and great marquee matchups.
Absolutely.
Same thing about the SEC. I mean, wouldn't you rather have Alabama playing number 2 LSU than playing unranked 0-4 Syracuse?
Yep.
Absolutely. That's why we love our conferences so much. But this is going to set everybody else so much farther back that Ohio State is just going to run through the conference. And, and you might ask, like, well, isn't that what you want? I mean, yeah.
Iron sharpens iron, though. Like
I want to do it with strong competition.
Yes, that iron sharpens iron. Absolutely.
And I just had to get this off because
I'm glad
we haven't been talking about it. And
so.
Again, I hope we come back here next week, and I hope we're talking about something a little bit different, and I hope that we're able to preview the Big Ten. But seeing these college football playoff previews and seeing no Ohio State when everybody would have had Ohio State and Clemson in the national championship, and now it's Bama Clemson in the national championship because those are the 3 best teams.
Yep, absolutely.
Every year. It really leaves me in a spot where this is going to be hard for me. This is going to be a tough football season.
It's going to be interesting.
I hope that Joe Burrow can take all the pain away and lead the Bengals to the playoffs. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I do want to see some great college football games. I can't wait for the SEC to kick off.
Yes.
Can't wait to start talking about those games. But we have games tomorrow. They're not great, but here we go. We're actually going to pick some spreads. I didn't think that we would be here, but here we are. Empty stadiums.
Wait, hold on. Not all of them are empty.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Not all of them.
But also, I'm glad you said that because this is kind of bothering me. You know me. I love hearing the bands. How on earth can they not have the bands, but you can have students?
It's how are the bands not allowed?
Yeah,
in the stadium.
You can socially distance them easier than you can the fans.
Have you seen all of the videos of all of these college parties where just nobody is social distancing?
No.
It's like,
I've seen them.
Wait, what are you protecting these kids from? It's like they're either going to protect themselves from it, or you just got to let them go.
It's like giving the good college try. We tried. We said we were protecting them.
You can set these rules into place, but again, like a ban situation. I mean, COVID cases would be inevitable, but okay, if you test positive for COVID, it's probably because you're going to the frat party or because you're
not because you went to band practice.
Because you went to band practice or a football game.
Yeah.
I mean, there were fans at the Miami game last night. I'm sure that we're going to see fans in some capacity across stadiums. Yeah. And then you got the Big Ten that isn't even going to try to play.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy.
17,000 fans at Arrowhead Stadium. Just crazy. Okay, so a little bit of a different feel. College football is all about the environment. It's all about the atmosphere. We're not going to have that this year. So it's going to be a little different.
This was hard for me because, I put so much stock, we always did, into home games.
We did, right.
And now you think about home games are even more so without the fans. The travel's way different because we're not really doing non-conferences. And when we are, it's like, I mean, well, we have like a couple non-conference games. We have the first game we're talking about. It's a non-conference game, but so weird.
I'm actually really glad that you brought that point up because, I see the spreads in the NFL aren't really too different to me because it's the NFL.
Yeah.
They're professionals. Home will give you about 3 points here or there.
Yeah.
But in college football, these spreads are going to be way different.
Yes.
Than if it was an actual crowd. Or
Yep.
I mean, it's going to change everything. So when we're looking to bet college football games, this is going to take some adjustment.
Yes. Tread lightly is what I'm doing this whole college football season.
Pick the games that you want to watch and bet on those games.
Yeah.
But definitely this is going to take some adjustment. The NFL is always just complete mayhem when it comes to betting.
Yep.
Week to week, right? The trends are always so
Absolutely.
different. But with college football, I think it's going to get progressively better as we start to see. I mean, look, we saw on Labor Day, BYU and Navy.
Yes.
We saw what an unprepared football team can look like in COVID, and it's 51-3?
Yes. Wait. Okay, so I had sent this stat out to you. Teams so far, there's been 4 games, 4 marquee games that have happened. Teams that had more spring practice than their opponents are 4-0 against the spread.
Which makes sense to me.
Obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that because here, with BYU and Navy, the spread was 1.5.
Yes.
There wasn't a lot of talent discrepancy with those two teams.
No.
But you see what a lack of preparation or just a team who just their head may not be in the game.
Yeah.
You see what a big difference that makes here. I mean, there's so much to take
life
in.
like as a Navy student.
Right.
You're having to deal with so much.
Yeah, and BYU just travels across the country and just smacks them in the mouth.
Yeah, like hello.
So
goodbye.
I think there are gonna be a lot of those games that happen that way.
Yeah, I do too.
And
totally agree.
I think we're gonna see some of those tomorrow. But what we can do is talk about them, get into them, and let's talk about the first one. We actually got a pretty good one here.
Yes,
what
we
do.
do. We have Louisiana at number 23, Iowa State. Iowa State is giving 11.5 points here, Miles. Let me hear what you have to say about this.
Good old 12 o'clock p.m. kickoff. I've seen the line move to 11 in some spots. Here's the thing. In week 1, I've been bitten so much by the bug of a really good group of 5 team playing in Iowa State or playing in Oklahoma or, that's it. Cincinnati playing Ohio State.
Yeah.
I'm taking Iowa State here.
Iowa State all the way.
All the way. I mean, what is 11.5 points. We know Louisiana has a great offense. And they
Levi
have
Lewis.
Yeah.
Legit.
So good.
Yeah.
And they got 8 starters coming back on that offense. That was top 10 in the country last year. But if you look at the schedule, guys, they play in the Sun Belt.
Yes.
They're a great group of 5 team. And Louisiana has a great group of 5 program.
They lost to
Appalachian State.
App State,
in the title game.
They went on 11 straight wins, get to the title game, and then lost.
Right. And I'm also glad you brought that up. It was a 45-38 shootout against App State, but then in the regular season, App State held them to 7 points.
Yes.
I mean, I think Iowa State's defense can be good enough here that if this does become some kind of shootout, guys, Iowa State has a ton of firepower. Brock Purdy's coming back for another season. I feel like we've been talking about this guy for years, but it's because he was such a stud when he was a sophomore.
Yeah. Brock Purdy's going to be on a mission this year. Because all he wants to do is build up those dollar signs, boost up his draft stock. This is a good team.
It is. And it's, a place where Matt Campbell he's going to have these guys ready to play because I think Iowa State is a great example right now of we are going to see teams that want to be here.
Yes.
And we're going to see teams that do not want to be here.
Yes.
That is going to happen. And I hate to say it, but we are going to see that from time to time. But Iowa State is a great example of a team on a mission.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to start here. I mean, 11.5. Louisiana finished the season last year 1-4 against the spread. Breece Hall coming back again. So, again, the running game for Iowa State also really good. So, I'm expecting some kind of shootout here, but I think Iowa State pulls away.
As high as people think.
Talk to me.
My fear here is like what you said, where we get into the situation where like FAU versus Oklahoma, where we think these teams are going to compete. They put up a couple points, but then at the end of the day, you have like an Iowa State putting up 45 points, and then Louisiana struggles to get to that 21 mark, that 28 mark. Louisiana 1-4 against the spread in their last 4 games against the Big 12. There's a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason, and there's also a reason why teams like Louisiana perform so well. It's because they're playing against their competition. You can only play the schedule that you're given. But then when you open the season against a hungry team, against a hungry leader who's, what was his third year starting?
Yeah.
3 years.
He's a senior this year, right? Purdy?
I think he's a redshirt junior from.
Oh, okay. So he was a redshirt freshman. Then, I think when he broke onto the scene.
Like,
he could come back for another year.
Crazy. Yeah. So I'm taking I'm going to go ahead and lay the 11.5 points. And I don't have problems or reservations. Like when we first started like picking the games we were going to, I actually almost fell into that trap of the 11.5. I was like, Louisiana's got this. And then the more I dug into the game and thought about it, I was like, this is an easy game for the public to be like, Louisiana's legit. Yeah. You see that offense?
Right.
Boom, get smacked. Just like, I'm going to put this just like that Miami game.
Right.
Where, it's just Miami. And then you have a good leadership quarterback like Derek King come in. And then you see UAB, who's playing the bright lights, playing Power 5 conference, and they're struggling. And UAB has a good offense.
Yeah. And a good team.
Good team, yeah.
Great example. Miami covered last night. All right. Moving on. We got another ACC matchup here. This is actually a conference game.
We
got Georgia Tech and Florida State. Florida State, 12.5-point favorites in Tallahassee, Doak Campbell Stadium. Going to be a little bit of a different feel, obviously.
Yep.
Okay. There's too many unknowns for me with Georgia Tech right now.
But they started the freshman quarterback?
Right. Did you see that they're not announcing their starting quarterback?
So they didn't announce it?
They're not announcing it publicly because they got 4 different guys and they want every advantage possible. Here's the thing for this game, and I'm taking Florida State minus 12.5.
Okay.
And the reason for that is, so there are some unknowns on the Georgia Tech side, but there also are some unknowns on the Florida State side.
Yeah.
Mike Norvell has not had the smoothest start to his regime in Tallahassee. It's been a little bumpy. I mean, there was a threat of a player boycott, and there's miscommunication, but the talent difference on the field for this game is where I'm leaning. And last year, Georgia Tech, first year, not in the Paul Johnson triple option. They're still working out their spread attack. Obviously, they're still deciding on a quarterback. They were 3-8-1 against the spread last year. And we got James Blackman at quarterback for Florida State coming in with a lot of experience.
And I think the reason the line is I consider this a favorable line for Florida State bettors. I think the line is set so because Vegas wants to lure people into thinking that, James Blackman turnover issues.
Yeah.
Norvell first year coming in.
Which he has had.
No Cam Akers. Let's not forget about the bad man named Marvin Wilson. Let's not forget about arguably the best defensive line, if not one of the best defensive lines in the country. They announced the four preseason All-American watch for defensive linemen. Crazy. When I saw it, 2 of the players were on that Florida State defensive line.
Talent. I mean, that's really what this game comes down to, and this line is that the talent difference. It feels like a steal taking Florida State. I'm assuming that you're on that side as well.
I'm on Florida State. I had wrote the score down. I think I put it something like 35-14, and it was a 35 generous 14, like a garbage time 14.
So much talent. I mean, again, but here's the thing: Florida State's got talent every year. They just haven't been able to put it together.
Yes.
But Georgia Tech could be the worst team in this conference.
Yes.
And again, second year in this offense, they don't even have an identity.
No
don't know who their quarterback is going to be. On the road, uncertainty with COVID. This is just going to be where talent just overplays.
Georgia Tech scored 16 points per game while allowing 32.
They were horrible.
Florida State, say what you want about Florida State's finish last year. I heard people say Florida State finished amazing. Florida State finished terrible. Florida State did what Florida State had to do to get better every week. And I think they did that. And what's the benefit to Florida State in this game is experience.
Right.
When you have,
exactly.
We're going to go on the defensive side of the ball. When you have defensive players coming back, they lose Brian Burns, but I think Brian Burns was great, replaceable. When you have a disruptive D-line with a lot of experience, a lot of starts on their belt, when you have let's say Georgia Tech starts the freshman. Let's say you have a freshman quarterback with pressure in his face. This is going to be long game for him.
Long game.
I think Florida State wins by 20 plus.
I'm with you. I liked that 35-14 and that it was a generous 14.
Yeah.
I can see Florida State scoring over 40.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, we haven't even talked about the offensitive change. Mike Norvell is an offensive genius, folks. He knows where his playmakers are and how to use them.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm a Florida State fan, and I think this might be the first time I've actually given them hope on this podcast in years. I love the Mike Norvell hire.
I do too.
I thought it was a home run. And it was a little rocky at first. I think he's going to get in there, find the identity. He's a great coach, great offensive mind. And so I think Florida State's going to score a lot of points this year.
I do too. I'm excited.
All right. Moving on here. We got Syracuse and one of the most hyped teams in the country, number 17, North Carolina, the Fighting Mac Browns. North Carolina minus 23.5 here in this conference matchup. A lot of points.
Stop me now, but I cannot take the points with Syracuse. I cannot do it.
I understand.
North Carolina is returning what? Was it 10 starters on offense? What?
We got a hype train here with Sam Howell. I mean,
Mac Brown is,
he's killing it.
I don't know what he said to his players, but he did two things very smart. Started the young guys with high ceilings, so you have them, they have to come back, and then convinced the older guys that we're building something here. Come back and join us.
Right.
I think that this team can be scary dangerous. I did put them in my top 4 in the ACC, and I was comfortable with doing that. I had them slated third right now. Syracuse stinks. Syracuse is another team that's missing that identity.
I think Syracuse is probably going to be second to last in the conference behind or just ahead of Georgia Tech.
Syracuse is perfectly okay with getting slapped around. Another spot I like, it wasn't on the podcast, but another spot I like in this game is that first half spread. I think it's like 11.5. I do think they come out firing fast. One thing that scared me, North Carolina did play some tough, close games last year. But on the other side of the ball, you think about you have Syracuse. They don't even know what a close game is.
Yeah. Okay, so it's going to be hard for me to argue the other side, but I am going Syracuse here with the points plus 23.5, if not just for the reason that, for me, it's a little too high for the first game of the season. North Carolina, I think, is going to be one of the better teams in the country this year. There's no doubt about it. But for this game in particular, all it's going to take, I think, is just one North Carolina mistake or one big turnover or maybe a garbage time touchdown for Syracuse to cover this spread. Now, I would love to buy this up to 24 or 24.5 just to get a little bit of insurance. But again, I can't disagree with anything that you said there about North Carolina. Syracuse searching for an identity. Tommy DeVito was supposed to be a really good successor last year. Had a really disappointing 2019, but still coming in with some experience here on the road. Hoping that Dino Babers can put together some offense. And I'm going to have him covering the 23.5 here.
Well, like I said, I mean, it's tough to lay these many points, especially in a conference game.
So difficult. So, and in a week one.
That's why I like the first half a little bit more. But
yeah, no, I actually really do like that first half bet too. I think I would feel more comfortable taking that. But when it comes to the game overall, I'm going to buy it up to 24. But I'll go with Syracuse here. And again, guys, this is tough, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing to bet on tomorrow.
Yeah. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Yeah. The next game we got is number 1 Clemson, 34-point favorite, visiting Wake Forest. Nice nighttime game. Miles,
this is the college game day game.
Miles, what are we going to do with college football this week? God.
This is where college game day is. Okay.
Oh, man.
Last year, 2019. This was... You wouldn't even say last year. What was this, like 8 months ago?
Yep.
Clemson beat Wake Forest 52-3, and Jamie Newman was the quarterback for Wake Forest.
Wake Forest is getting worse.
52-3.
Defensively, Wake Forest is scrapped. Offensively, they're scrapped.
Clemson minus 34. All over it.
This is a no-brainer for me.
I'm surprised it's not higher. Maybe it's because they're on the road. Maybe there's some... I don't know, man. But
come on, let's think about this. You have 2 of the best, highly touted draft picks offensively.
And they're going to be coming in ready to go.
Versus a team who lost their starting linebacker, lost their starting strong safety to the draft, and those were their own... I'm sorry for disrespecting you, Wake Forest. Those were their only good defensive players in my eyes. And now they're scrapped. Right. This is going to be a bloodbath.
Wake Forest outscored 115-6 if you count their last 2 meetings. So how is this year going to be any different than Wake Forest not being able to score?
Like, I'm trying to see holes in Clemson that...
It's hard to, right?
That, that a team like Wake Forest would be able to exploit.
And man, they are so airtight.
They don't turn the ball over. They're strong on the offensive line, defensive line.
They're one of those programs, too, in the country that, COVID doesn't affect them. It's like Ohio State, Bama. They've been ready to play football for months.
Yes.
This is what they do. This is what Clemson football does. They're going to come in prepared, ready to go. God, I got like another 52-3 game here, or just to be generous, maybe like 52-17.
If Wake Forest scores a touchdown, it will be their only touchdown of the game.
Yeah.
That is how, and I'm feeling very confident about that. I'm thinking I want to take the under points total, but I don't want, my only fear is Clemson destroyed them last year, but Jamie Newman couldn't catch a spark, but they were still feel like they were in it mentally because when you have a quarterback like Jamie Newman, you always feel like you're in it.
Right.
I think they won't be in it at all. Clemson puts up a big number really quick, and then let these freshmen play.
I'm all over Clemson first half on this one. That's probably
easy.
That's probably going to be my favorite bet of the day.
35-0 first half, 35-3 first half.
Lock it in.
Easy.
Lock it in. All right. So, I mean, this is a good day to take the favorites, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
You know, with these games, I mean, with any of the games, really. Just because I feel like there's a lot of talent discrepancy in these matchups.
Yes.
All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and well, you know what's funny? I thought we were going to talk for 10 minutes, but leave it to us to talk about horrible college football games forever and ever.
I have my little pail over here now. I was like, just in case I need to throw up talking about this trash. Like, oh god, we just grab
horrible. It. Okay. Talk to me about what we got in the NFL.
Oh man, so I love the NFL, not as much as I love college football, but you know what I love about the NFL is marquee matchups. We have Dallas Cowboys, 3-point favorite at the Los Angeles Rams. Nighttime game.
This has me fired up.
Oh my god!
Like the games we're getting in the NFL this week. Oh, I'm so fired up.
God, the 8-8 Cowboys take on the 9-7. Did they tie last year? 9-7-1, something like that.
Something like that.
Oh man, we got
right. Oh, and it's the opening of the new LA Stadium, which is
new LA Stadium.
Beautiful, by the way. That's a shame. That
new jerseys for the Rams.
Yeah.
Everything to be excited here, Miles. But, you know, there's a couple things that are going against the Rams that just make this -3, even on the road, really important to me that I like.
Lay it out for me.
Dak Prescott came out and probably did one of the toughest things you could ever do. He admitted he needed help. He admitted that he's human, and he admitted that he was going through a tough time.
Love that.
You know, what also took strength was doing that to the media. Like, I'm sure he told his teammates. But you know what the media did? Well, Skip Bayless in particular, there were some others. They turned him into I don't even know, like a soft tissue, like a Barbie doll. Totally disrespectful. Yeah. But you know what that does? When stuff like that happens, your boys who you fight with every day at practice,
great point,
they have your back. But you can't bet on just sentiment, right? You know, that's foolish. I'm just going to go through, I'm going to do a quick rundown of this elite defense.
Let's break it down.
DeMarcus Lawrence. Dontari Poe. Tristan Hill, go, charge on.
Oh, okay.
Tyrone Crawford, Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, Aldon Smith, Anthony Brown, Darian Thompson. I love Xavier Woods. And Trayvon Diggs as a rookie starting. One thing about this defense that I really like is size and speed. They have a lot of big players who are really fast. They can cover a lot of ground.
And I feel like they've been lacking that a little bit in the secondary. They've had that with Smith and Vander Esch on that side. But
yes. In the secondary now.
Are we, I mean, is it unfair for us to overhype the boys this year? Because I feel like they're hyped every year.
Yeah.
But they are a really good team this year.
Very good.
Like, not just for this game, which I'm also
McCarthy coming in.
I'm all over the
to
boys
change the
-3 here. Yeah. But sorry, I would continue.
The defense was never the problem for the Cowboys.
Right.
It was the offense.
Yeah, it was.
So what does the offense do? They add another weapon. CeeDee Lamb. I do fully expect a lot of the wide receivers, the rookie wide receivers, to not have huge impacts week 1.
Right.
Smaller training camp. But think about it. Michael Gallup outsnapped Amari Cooper. You have a guy like Amari Cooper who everyone knows is an amazing player, but you have your number 2 receiver who has an even better relationship with the quarterback.
Right. And Cooper, we know, is a reliable number 1 guy.
Yes.
Like, that's who he is. Like, so it's like, yeah, Gallup outsnapped him, but Cooper, we already know he's number 1. Gallup is number 1 material.
Yes, it's crazy.
At number 2 on the outside. And that's why you saw those stats last year where, he actually had more touchdowns and more yards toward the end of the year than Cooper. And now you throw CeeDee Lamb in there. Don't forget about Zeke. You got Dak Prescott almost throwing for 5,000 yards.
Amazing offensive line.
Last year. Still got that amazing, strong offensive line.
You have Dak playing on the tag. He's going to...
Yep.
Look at Kirk Cousins when he was playing on the tag.
Yeah.
Dak is going to he's going to feast this season.
Which I hope the Cowboys, end up paying him. But, Dak comes in here and he has another great season. It's going to be hard not to.
You can't ignore that. And then on the other side of the ball, you have the Los Angeles Rams. Last year, they did not deserve to win 9 games. A lot of what happened to them, their defense carried them. I don't think the Rams did anything to address the offensive line. They got weaker offensively. And I don't think Jared Goff is that good. 16 interceptions on the season last year.
He definitely had a really down year. And I think that it seems like the Rams are overmatched right now by this Cowboys team.
Yes.
And think about this for a second, Brad. I think this is really interesting. So not last year's playoffs, but the year before, the Cowboys went into Los Angeles. This was the year the Rams won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And the Cowboys were completely overmatched. How so much can change in just a couple years, because I feel like no one is going to say that McVay isn't a great coach, and he is, but right now, I don't think the Rams really have the talent.
They don't have the pieces to go for McVay. Losing Cooks to them is going to be a lot more than they thought, too.
Oh, that's huge. And the Rams defense gave up 113 rushing yards per game last year. Now you got Zeke coming in here. I mean, these boys, I think, are going to be hungry, and it's only a 3-point spread.
I was looking around at, the defense, who'd they surround Aaron Donald with? It's kind of reminds me of when J.J. Watt started to really ball before they started surrounding him with pieces. And that's what what Aaron Donald's like. This defensive line is, you have Aaron Donald, but you're double teaming every game. I don't think their pass rush is amazing, but I don't think they plug up any holes on their rush defense.
I also found this little nugget for the Rams. Their last 7 games as home dogs, they're 0-7 straight up. And to me,
oh my God,
my philosophy, a 3-point spread to me is basically a pick 'em.
Absolutely.
Because it's barely ever a 3-point game. Someone is going to break away on either side.
Yeah.
So to me, a pick 'em, not playing well as home underdogs. Vegas sees something here. Now, what's funny to me is my roommate is a Cowboys fan, and I told him as soon as I saw the line, I was like, guess what the spread is? He's like, it's Cowboys -3, isn't it? Because it's always Cowboys -3 or +3. But this time,
that's the Cowboys are an 800 team,
right?
A 500 team,
right? I mean, and this is the same team that lost to the Jets last year.
Yep.
It's hard to tell what Cowboys team you're going to get from week to week, especially when they went 8-8 last year, right? But I really think that this boys team is good enough, especially with. I'm not too impressed with the Eagles in that division.
No, not impressed with the Eagles at all.
I think the boys could win 11 or 12 games this year.
I think so too. I think this is a really good spot from the start of the season off.
I do
because
too.
I think the Rams are good enough to give them a challenge, but not good enough to beat them. So it's going to be a tougher game than a double-digit win, but it will be a win for the Cowboys, and it'll get them on the right side of that 1-0, 0-1. You want to start the season off 1-0? I listened to Colin.
Coward?
No, drawing a blank. Played for the Bengals. Announcer. Whatever his name was.
Blankton.
Whatever. Collinsworth.
Okay, yeah.
I heard him say something yesterday, and I wanted to bring this up. He said, you never want to start the season 0-1. You always want to start the season 1-0 because you're always looking behind when you're 0-1, and you're always looking forward 1-0. And when I thought about it for a long time. I was like, this is so stupid. Shut up. But it is so true.
Brilliant analysis, but yeah, I mean, it's true. Well, what's crazy with the NFL too is the percentages and the stats that they bring out within after 1 game, after 2 games, or after and this is your percentage to make the playoffs.
Yes.
It's crazy to see the difference between 3-1 and 1-3.
Yes.
Or 2-0 and 0-2. It's 2-0 is, a 67% chance to make the playoffs. 0-2 is a 30, it's crazy. Every game matters. It starts week 1.
I think they start off to a good one. Miles, tell me what we got on tabs for the next game.
Oh, get ready for this one. Here we go. All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How about it? And the New Orleans Saints The Saints are minus 3.5. Talk about another game I cannot wait to watch. Joey Burrow is going to be making his debut at this time, but that's why they created Red Zone, so I can have that on the other TV. I cannot wait to see what Tom Brady and this Bucs offense comes out and does against the Saints in New Orleans. Definitely not the same Superdome, we know that, but still a great matchup. This one was really hard for me, but here's what it comes down to. All right, we got a 3.5 point spread. I think that this season, I think the Saints are going to win it, are going to beat the Bucs in New Orleans, and I think the Bucs are going to beat the Saints in Tampa.
Yes,
that's just how I feel about it. I'm not going to pick the Bucs plus 3.5 because again, 3.5 is almost like a pick 'em to me. I think the winner is going to win by 7, 8, or 9. So I am going to lean towards the Saints here. Love the over. I'm buying the high scoring game. I think it's 47.5. I'm taking that.
Yeah, I think I got up to 48.5 now. Yeah.
I'm taking the Saints here in a really high scoring game. I think both offenses are going to be lit up.
Miles,
who you got?
As a Bucs fan, we got Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
We got Chris Godwin.
Yeah. Is Evans going to play?
We got Gronk. Evans should be playing.
He probably should be.
Bucs 7-3-1 against the spread on the road. But then you got to imagine, you have the New Orleans Saints stocked with talent and a sneaky good acquisition of Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, it was.
One thing they needed was another weapon that was a reliable weapon. Like Ted Ginn, we know what Ted Ginn offers.
I can't believe he's still in the league.
I think that it's easy as a casual bettor to go on the side and be like, hey, I'm going to bet on the Bucs. Tom Brady. But we got to remember the New Orleans Saints, 11-4 against the spread in their last 15 games. This team, they don't care about Rojo. They don't care about Leonard Fournette because why? They have a stout defense, 4th against the rush and 11th overall. I fully expect Tom Brady to go in there and sling it because he's happy to have targets. But you know what the best part about that is? The difference between Tom Brady not having targets, not having people to throw to in New England and in Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay has some kind of a running game now. But still, I don't think they're ready. I think this Tampa Bay Bucs team makes the playoffs, but I do think they start off 1-2 or 2-1. I don't think it's going to be the glorious start, win week 1. I don't think that's going to happen. Tom Brady himself admitted that he's still getting used to his new teammates, still getting to know the offense. You have to imagine this is a man who spent 15 years in one skeleton of a playbook that was just added layers each year. Now he's going to this cake that Arians has already built. Arians Leftwich, they build this cake, and Tom Brady's got to break it down, figure out every ingredient inside it, and then make it his own. That doesn't happen over a summer. But the best thing for Brady is they're playing football because you start playing football, it starts coming to you a little bit faster when you're getting hit in the face, hit in the mouth. And you all know Tom Brady is a gamer, but I have to take New Orleans Saints minus 3.5, and I will be on the over as well.
Nice. Yeah, I am with you here for a lot of the same reasons. I think that with Tampa Bay, this offense is a completely different team.
No one's talking about the defense, though. Tampa Bay does have a good defense, too.
They have a really good defense. Absolutely, because for me, the problem was never the defense.
Yeah.
It was Jameis throwing 30 picks in a season.
Yes.
That was the problem.
Yep.
If Jameis throws just 15 interceptions last year, I think the Bucs make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think it was that kind of situation.
I literally said that exact same thing today.
Yeah.
I said that yesterday. I said if Jameis Winston throws half his interceptions, we're a playoff team.
Right. So that's how good the pieces are.
And Brady's not throwing 15 picks.
No. I think I saw some crazy stat where it's like Brady's thrown 19 picks in like the last 3 years. I don't know. It was like Winston threw way more picks than Brady has thrown in a long time.
That's crazy.
That's what it comes down to, right? But with this offense, they're gonna need some time.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like when you bring together like a big 3 in basketball. Or,
yeah.
They're not great right away.
When they have that rough start in the big 3, and then by the time playoffs start rolling around, you're like, wow, they're really good.
Exactly. I think that I see Tampa as like a 10-6 wildcard team this year. But I see that as a floor for them.
Yeah.
But I do see them losing this game on Sunday. Man,
pains me to say it,
but if Tom Brady can go in there,
I did get a risk-free bet, a little free play. So I took the highest value. I obviously took Tampa Bay money line. It cost me nothing.
There you go.
So I'll be rooting for the Bucs because I'm not physically gonna bet this. But guys, if you want to take the Saints, I'm fully on board.
Also, just a little nugget here. Saints are 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 Week 1 games. So tread carefully.
They always play the Bucks?
But
that's what it feels like.
Tread carefully, but I mean, that's got to be broken eventually. So
yes.
I like that here. Also, straight up record here. Saints are 9-3 in their last 12 home games against division opponents. So again, not the same Superdome, but really like the Saints at home. All right, what's next?
Next, we have the Cleveland Browns traveling to the MVP Baltimore Ravens. 7-point favorites for the Ravens here, Miles. Browns 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games. But Browns did a lot this offseason.
Again.
They had probably one of the best drafts from a fix where your holes are standpoint. Picking up Wills Jr., picking up Delpit, Jordan Phillips. I should have the guy from the defensive tackle from Michigan. They fixed a lot of holes. But to me, and I am so sorry I'm about to disrespect the crap out of Baker Mayfield. To me, I think he is just another Oklahoma quarterback. I do not think he's special. I think that he will throw 2 interceptions this game against that stout Ravens defense, and then Lamar Jackson will just be able to chill. It will be close for a little bit, but 7 points, I think this is a 10-point game for the Ravens. Ravens 9-2 against the spread in their last 11. The pressure's off Lamar. People think Lamar has the pressure. When you play the kind of football that Lamar Jackson plays, there's no pressure, because what were the biggest knocks that Lamar Jackson had throughout the season is he couldn't throw the ball. No one's expecting him to win this game with his arm. If Lamar Jackson even got incrementally better with his accuracy and his precision, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks from a completion standpoint, but I mean, like adding a little touch to the accuracy, I think that he will be even more elite. And there's no expectations for him to do that.
Right, and Lamar Jackson can win regular season games with his legs like it's nothing. I mean, that's not where the issue is. You know, I was all over him in the playoffs because I said, if you have the time and you have the talent in a playoff game to build the right game plan around him, I mean,
you could shut him down.
Mike Vrabel shut him down in that playoff game. He was lost. But that's not to say that Lamar Jackson isn't an MVP.
Yeah.
And that's also not to say that Lamar Jackson can't adjust.
Correct.
When playoff time comes around. But when we're talking about the regular season, Lamar Jackson can just do his thing and win football games. No pressure. Having said that, I am taking the Browns here +7. This spread at one point was sitting at 8 or so. So I think a lot of people are going towards the Browns. I mean, last year the Browns beat the Ravens 40-25 in a game, but then the Ravens didn't lose a game after that. Until that playoff game. The Ravens were scalding hot down the stretch on both sides of the ball. And I really don't know where I stand on Baker yet. I agree that I don't think he is an elite quarterback, and he never will be.
Yeah.
But I think that the Browns are going to have enough offense here to at least keep it within a touchdown. I'm even going to say watch out for the upset here. We're going to see some upsets on Sunday. And I think that this is a spot where we could see that, just because I think the AFC North is going to be so competitive this year. I think the Bengals are going to be in a lot of games. I think the Bengals are actually going to cover a lot of spreads. They're not going to win a lot of games.
I think the Bengals, I mean, I picked Joey Burrow as my second tier offensive rookie of the year. You obviously can't put him as your first tier because plus 250 doesn't win you a ton of money, so I put a smaller wager on that. But one thing I like about the Ravens offensively, so the Ravens, you know, they had a lot of age and lack of talent at the running back position. Mark Ingram didn't honestly play that many snaps. Now they bring in Justice Hill, so now you have a Punisher and a Mark Ingram and a smooth running back to spell him.
Yeah,
I think that does numbers for the longevity of Mark Ingram's career, but also you can play Mark Ingram 35% of the snaps and not miss a step. I think that when you had like a Gus Edwards come in, their offense I didn't expect Gus Edwards to have anything more than 4 yards on a run. I think he was averaging like 2.8 yards per attempt. I could be totally wrong. That was just a mental math. Yeah. But now when you start, adding youth to that, a good running back, I think it's pretty good. I'm excited to see what happens here with the with Hollywood Brown too.
I think he's primed for a big year.
Big year. I
think he's a great fit.
He came into the season not all that healthy, And you could kind of see like at the end of the season he started to tune it up a little bit more because you miss time when you're hurt.
Yeah.
You could be in the playbook all you want, but it's about building that rhythm. So I'm taking the 7. I totally understand fading that at this point, but I do think that the Ravens, they have something to prove.
Yeah.
They have.
It was a tough loss last year. Tough loss. Speaking of youth at running back, I cannot wait to see how they start using J.K. Dobbins.
That's what I meant. I meant to say J.K. Dobbins.
Right out there. Well, I mean, they brought in Justice Hill last year, which is what I thought you meant.
I meant to say J.K. Dobbins. I knew they had Justice Hill.
I just can't wait to see how they start to integrate him in the offense. And now I know that there was a lot of hype around him, like fantasy wise, so people do understand the talent that he has. But coming from a guy who watched him for years, boys and girls, Dobbins is.
I'm glad you said this because I was just Justice Hilling it right all through my head. I meant J.K. Dobbins, and
huge, and there's a huge difference. I mean, Dobbins is a bruiser.
Yes.
I mean, he rushed for 2,000 yards last year at Ohio State. I mean, he was so reliable. He played hurt in the playoff, and he's a guy who can
move the
break
chains.
Away and move the chains.
When I think about Dobbins, I think about this is what my comparison. I used the wrong player. You think about a guy like a Gus Edwards, who. You don't think like if you put him in on short down situation, you think he's gonna get the 2 or 3 yards. With a guy like Dobbins, I think he's more than capable for that to be 4, 8, 10. Just he's kind of like this is a terrible analogy when it comes to body build, but like kind of game rhythm kind of player. He's kind of like how you watch Derrick Henry, where you think that this run is going to be this like 2 and 3 yard run because it's 3rd and 1, and then Dobbins is gone.
Right. Yeah, and he proved that time and time again. And not to mention, Dobbins I think is just as effective in the I formation as he is in the shotgun.
Yeah.
I don't say that about every college running back, especially college quarterbacks. I think that there is a big difference, and I think that does have a lot to do with how successful you are right away in the NFL.
Yes.
I think Dobbins is going to be really comfortable, and I think he's going to be able to do whatever they ask of him. So. However they want to use him, and I think that they're going to start using him more than people think right off the bat.
I do too. I think he's one of the running backs who is coming behind a veteran who can make an immediate impact because he's a guy who can kind of do everything, and
he's a good blocker too.
I think about like and why I say do everything, and this is totally off topic, but I think about like a Jonathan Taylor. Like I don't see Jonathan Taylor as like a do everything guy.
Taylor is a one-dimensional running back.
I think that Jonathan Taylor will end up taking
Marlon
Mack's spot.
Agree.
But I don't think he's a plug-in. Game 1, it has an immediate impact.
Right. Yeah.
I digress.
And Taylor is a very talented running back.
Yes.
But really he's kind of one-dimensional. Whereas Dobbins, he can do it all. And he really developed at Ohio State, and he turned into a great product. And I think he's going to be exciting to watch in the NFL. All right, what's our finale here?
Miles, this is my upset of the week. I'm going to go and throw it out there. We have the banged up Eagles. We might as well call them the Philadelphia Crutches Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
They are a 6-point favorite traveling to the Washington football team.
The Washington football team.
Lazy, but listen to me, guys. I have 0 notes on this, by the way. 0 notes on this because I have been excited to talk about this game since we knew we were having football. Since Adrian Peterson left, there's so many things that are happening to this Washington football team that are suiting them so wonderfully. Adrian Peterson was a 1,000-yard rusher.
Did he get 1,000 last year?
Yes.
Man, you wouldn't even know that.
I don't care what you guys say. Adrian Peterson's old and is washed. I watched that game. So now you have an Adrian Peterson who lacks 100% versatility. I mean, Adrian Peterson's running the ball. He's not pass catcher. Now you get to start a guy like Antonio Gibson, who was supposed to be last year's Darrell Henderson,
Yeah.
I think that Antonio Gibson has a chance at plus 200,000 to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Why I say that? The Redskins have a simple schedule. Very easy. Fourth easiest schedule in the National Football League. But you have a guy in Dwayne Haskins who had his lumps and his bruises last year, right? Now he's in year 2. A little bit of pressure, knows that no excuses now.
Yeah, I wrote down that this was a do-over for Dwayne Haskins this year, especially with a new coach.
What really helps me, Ron Rivera won't be on the sidelines. We all know about the cancer, but what really helps Haskins is he knows his defense will be elite. That defensive line is, and I'm sorry anybody who thinks that it's not, is the best defensive line in the country. Just like my take earlier in college football. Excuse me. When you have a great defensive line putting pressure on a quarterback, it makes life so much easier. Now you have a Carson Wentz who, I didn't even know he was going to play. He was just hurt. How does Carson Wentz come out and play? Who's playing wide receiver?
Nobody.
How is Miles Sanders? I think Miles Sanders will be good, but who's blocking in Philadelphia? They're getting banged up at every position offensively, where this works for Washington. Because you have a lot of guys who haven't played together, offense that's not going to have rhythm. Now you can just have your Chase Youngs, you have your Andersons, pin their heads back and go after the fragile, half-broken quarterback. So the line when I got it was 6.5. It's moved from 6 to 6.5. I don't think you have to buy the half a point because I have this as an outright winner. I bought the half a point to 7 because this is my surprise team of the year. The Washington Redskins will not win the Super Bowl. I don't think the Washington Redskins will make the playoffs. Vegas has their win total set at 4.5. I think the Washington Redskins have a very good chance of going 800. And I think Dwayne Haskins has a chance to finally enjoy all the hard work he put in college and in high school and have fun. That was what he was missing. I mean, you think about it. You have Scary Terry who came onto the scene. You have Steven Sims, who no one even knows about, is an amazing wide receiver. They have every piece they need. Ron Rivera in opening games as an underdog has covered like 19. How many times has he been in the league? He's covered like 10 straight. I know he's not going to be out there, but you know he's talking to his boys.
Well, didn't we? This was the matchup in week 1 last year, right? Because I think the Redskins covered last year too.
Yeah.
And I think the spread was a lot bigger.
I like this as my...
You got me fired up. And also, I remember when you sent me like your analysis of why you're taking Redskins, over total. I was like, well, yeah, obviously over 4.5. And not to mention, man, Chase Young. I cannot wait to see what Chase Young does in his first NFL game.
Somebody asked me. I'll let you do your analysis. Sorry, I'm soapboxing.
No,
Someone asked me, do they have a chance to win defensive player of the rookie of the year and offensive rookie of the year? And I said, absolutely. Because I think about the defensive players that came out. Chase Young is hands down. When they make an immediate impact. Chase Young has hands down the easiest chance, the easiest division, and the easiest he's all season in their division. They are going against broken and battered offensive lines. What a blessing.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to take Eagles -6.
Yes.
And it's a popular pick.
Yeah.
And it's a pick where there's just so many unknowns on both sides. Like, obviously, we know the players and we know the situations, but I'll go with the historically better team here with the Eagles -6. I took Browns +7 there. That'll be my my upset pick of the week. But I mean, okay, so they lost 2 starters on the offensive line already.
Yep.
I feel like they don't have any receivers healthy. I think they have Deshaun Jackson healthy. Can't believe he's still in the league. Now, I will say Ertz and Goddard are going to have big games for Carson Wentz to find any kind of rhythm in this game.
Rager, they don't even know if he's going to play. They actually moved him from doubtful to questionable. Quickest recovery from a shoulder injury I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. But I think it's just because they don't have players.
No. And they were shorthanded last year too.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a problem that they've been running into a lot. I think Washington is going to come out here and Haskins is going to be excited to play. I think Gibson obviously is going to come in hot like Edwards-Helaire did. Then we see a lot of these rookie running backs who, if they're getting the chances, they're going to come in on fire. Tough not to have a preseason to not get prepared, but really that's just less tape that the opposing team has on you.
Yep.
I was really impressed with Edwards-Helaire last night, so that I can see these big games happening for a guy like Gibson too.
Yeah, I think like when you have the versatile running backs, like the running backs who are really versatile in their, I think you said this actually, in their rookies, it's easier adjustment because all it takes is one aspect of their versatile game to get them going, and then they're settled into the game. They're settled into the season.
Yeah.
And they know their role. They know what they can do well.
And think about the connections. He was in that Mike Norvell offense,
Yep.
and Mike Norvell knew how to use him.
Yep.
And he doesn't have a ton of college stats, but it's just he was he had so many playmakers, and he was so explosive. He knew how to use him. I think that the Redskins will get there as well, and I really hope that Haskins can kind of come into his own this year. He took a lot of criticism last year, which in my opinion, I think it was total bullshit because number one, it was a complete throwaway year.
Yeah.
And who was it? Jay Gruden. He was completely checked out.
Yeah.
He was just trying to make sure that he could get another job. So
Yep.
he didn't have Haskins' best interest in mind.
No, not a chance.
So
as football fans, we know there will be a second year or third year quarterback who will make a major leap.
that's true. It happens every year.
And I'm taking him and Kyler both to make major leaps.
I like Kyler Murray a lot too.
Kyler, since we're already talking about week one,
Sure.
Kyler Murray, I already put my bet in as the MVP this year.
Why not, right? I mean, I could
At
see
those
him
odds?
having a very Lamar Jackson-esque year.
Yeah.
Especially with all the weapons that he's been given.
And so the difference between I think a Kansas City with Mahomes, I think that you'll see this a lot now that the Chiefs are finally a complete team. Mahomes' stats are going to go down a little bit. Where you have Kyler Murray,
he's going to ball.
Now he's got a real target.
Yeah.
Like Fitz is a target, but you're not sending Fitz on a go route
Right.
to win a jump ball. You're sending Hop. You're going to send Nuke out there, and man, this is exciting.
Yeah, I think Kyler's going to ball this year. I think it's going to be a really exciting year in the NFL where, we're really starting to see, I think we saw it with, Patrick Mahomes, this change of regime.
Yeah, the change
where
of the
it's
guard, man.
I really think that's starting to happen.
Yeah.
And it's going to be even more prevalent this year as we move forward where, we know the Chiefs are going to be there.
Yep.
We know the Ravens are going to, we have these new teams emerging, where are the Bucs going to fit into that? Where are the Saints going to fit into that? They still have Drew Brees.
Yeah.
They've been robbed in the playoffs more times than I can count. So, there's going to be a lot of factors at play here, but, I actually have hope, Brad, that maybe come 2021 and the playoffs roll around, maybe we can have some fans in the stands. Real fans in the stands, not 17,000 fans in the stands.
I was talking about, oh man, now I'm drawing a blank, but I'll tell you offline. There's a team, and I'll put it on Twitter for you guys to see. There's a team that I was thinking about their win total, where all of their hard home games are in November. And I was like, we could probably have some fans in November. Imagine being a team like that who gets an easy, light schedule to start the season.
Early. Yeah.
And then your harder games are at home you might have fans. One thing I was in a meeting for the Citrus Bowl. Guys, I'm on the committee.
Of course.
And they said something. They were like, if we can have fans, if the state allows us to have fans, we will have fans.
Yeah.
And I am so glad for that.
I think it's going to be, again, it's an election year, so let's see what happens after the election. Let's see the result of that. And it's kind of hard to tell the direction that America is going in right now. And for me, again, sorry to get political again, but
you're good.
I'm just so upset at, if it goes in this direction, we're all doomed. If it goes in this direction, why can't we all just be like, okay, no matter what happens, we're going to fix this.
Yeah.
And we're going to move forward, and God, let's get our sports back. Let's get the fans back. Let's get a sense of normalcy back, and let's do it together instead of fighting each other on what the best way to do it is.
Yes.
Because that's why the Big Ten's not playing football.
Yep. I totally agree.
Because we're all fighting with each other on, this is what's right, and this is what's right, and this is what's right. At this point, what's right is finding a safe way for everybody to go about their lives as normal as possible. Look at all of us working from home.
Yeah.
So that was our company in particular, a lot of companies saying, okay, in order to be as safe as we can, this is what we're going to do for the remainder of the year.
Yep.
No one's going into the office. Why can't football be any different?
Yep.
Whereas, okay, guys, if we want to play this year, this is what we're going to do.
Yep.
All right? Everyone's going to come into the facility. You're going to do this. You can't go here. You can go here.
Like the Chiefs with their proximity monitors. So the best decision is strap up with proximity monitors. That way, if someone caught COVID, you would know who they've been around on the team, You can quarantine them, and we just go about our business.
And baseball it dealt with it, folks. I mean, people want to talk down on baseball, but I actually think for what they had working for them, they did a great job.
Yes.
I mean, they had outbreaks that could have shut down the entire season, and yet here we are, no more outbreaks.
Yeah.
And headed towards the playoffs.
Yep.
And everyone's playing the same amount of games. They're making them up with doubleheaders.
Yep.
They're doing a great job with scheduling.
It's amazing.
Great job with testing. Great job with information. Baseball is proving that it can be done. And why did those outbreaks happen? I mean, because I remember I think it was the Marlins. It was because they went out. They broke rules.
Yes.
That's going to happen.
Yep.
But you find a way to work around it, and then you tell those guys, if that's how you want to play it, then you can't be on the team.
If you break the rules, you're done.
I mean, and especially in college football.
Yeah.
That's easy. They're kids.
They'll be like,
they're students. That's easy to enforce.
I'm done? You mean I'm done? Like done? Yes, you're done.
Like I can't play?
Yes,
And
you're done.
It's just mind-boggling to me. One thing I forgot to mention before we sign off is that the Rutgers president actually said that he was going to vote no because Donald Trump wants the Big Ten to play football. He came out and said that. It's like, why does that have to be a reason? Why can't you just want your team to play football? I understand you're not going to win a game this year. I get it. But here's the thing. If you are Rutgers, you are in our conference, all right? You are a part of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
This has to be unity, but it's not. Like there is no unity. And that's why, Brad, when they vote next week, they will vote not to play. We do not have enough votes, and it makes me sick to think that we do not have enough votes in our own conference to play football games. That makes me more sad than anything else, because now I can't back up the Big Ten anymore. Forever. This will forever ruin my entire outlook on the Big Ten. And it breaks my heart. So now it's Ohio State versus everybody else. Everybody. But I don't like that mentality.
Yeah,
It's like, you know how the SEC is so prideful because they have so much to be proud of.
Yeah.
There's the SEC chant that you hear throughout stadiums and in bowl games because there's so much pride. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the Big Ten, we have that. It's not the same as the SEC. It's the Big Ten chasing them. But now you add this to the mix, and you add this situation. We're not coming back from this.
Yeah.
And you can call me dramatic, and you can say that it's there's people who don't see what a big deal it is. And again, for ESPN to downplay and say, well, it's the safe thing to do, and then cover all these SEC games and all these Big 12.
Yeah.
Oh, but here we go. Look at the slate. College game day going to Wake Forest for week 1. It's just mind-boggling to me that there's just no transparency. There's no cohesiveness. There's nothing makes sense anymore.
Yeah.
I'm lost, man. Like I really am. It hurts me. It hurts me to feel that way. And usually, I love the NFL. Obviously, I talk about it. I love football. But Brad, when it comes to Saturday versus Sunday, I'm all about Saturday. That's my
legit.
day.
Yeah.
You know, Sunday is the day where I'm chilling and I'm watching the games. But Saturday, I'm out there and watching games from freaking 12 p.m. to 3 a.m. I mean, that's it. That's football to me. Now it's a situation where I've never been more excited for an NFL Sunday.
Yeah.
Because, college football isn't there.
Saving the bulk of my alcohol consumption for Sunday.
Right.
Say that?
I mean, isn't that weird though?
Yeah.
Because that's how I'm in my mind too. I'm like, well, I might as well party on Sunday
Now
because
that
there's
we're
nothing
going to the
happening on
bar,
Saturday.
we're not going to the bar to watch the beautiful slate of games.
Right.
So. Man.
I'm good.
All right, Miles. I'm sorry, dude. Let's win some freaking money.
Yeah, let's win some money. Let's go into the season and have as good of a football season as we can. I think that's what we can do.
I think we can do that, guys. Please be sure to like, rate, subscribe. We're on YouTube, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify.
We're everywhere.
iTunes. It's What's the Spread. I hope you guys have a fantastic week.